Let me tell you a story, the story of us. In the beginning, there were humans. They lived and survived using their instincts. At some point, they have developed a very unique ability: abstract thinking. In other words, they could think. Whether they ate a forbidden fruit or went through evolution, whatever floats your boat. The bottom line is the same. It just happened. And with that newfound ability, they sat down and thought and thought and thought and thought and thought and thought some more until they had reached this incredible epiphany. God damn, our life sucks. And indeed, they sucked, unreasonably so. No matter how much we might not want to believe it, human life was unusually cruel. So after at least 100,000 years of experimental living, humans had reached the undeniable conclusion: living by our instincts is a total failure. And having this big brain that requires so much energy really seemed like some sort of a cruel joke. Because from now on, we have to think and do things the hard way. And thus, I welcome you to join my course, Understanding Humanity. Sometimes we take it for granted, but without understanding what we've built over the last thousands of years, without understanding how what we cherish and love might be threatened, we risk returning to the life we had before, one where humanity almost went extinct. Yes, we are the only kind of humans left. The Neanderthals and many others had disappeared, and no, they were not at all stupid. What I offer is to take a journey to rethink what we take for granted and understand how the world around us is built and works. The world is changing fast. We are entering a new era. Things that we have taken for granted are now being challenged. Ever since World War II, we've been acting as if those nations and borders that we have drawn on a map are gonna be permanent, that the disputes over borders and who has what territory is old school, but no more. This is what you get. Each nation has its share, and now we're gonna live in peace and we're gonna respect those borders. And it's almost as if we have decided that those borders are set in stone, but it's not reality. This experiment is about to end. The United States, which is leading the West that had kind of drawn those borders to begin with and promised that that's it, we're above geography. We don't need to fight over territories anymore. We're gonna cooperate. We're seeing that the leading Western nation is challenging that. When Trump goes out and says, hey, how about we take Greenland? This is the end of an era where the world had sort of agreed that the borders that we have are final. We're entering a new era. An era where things are going to be redefined. And every time humanity enters that stage, we have options. Here's the problem. Our natural instincts tell us to choose the worst possible choices. Monarchy degenerates into tyranny, aristocracy into oligarchy, and democracy into savage violence and chaos. Why? Because when changes are happening, we have a choice. We need to know what to preserve and what to change. And to do that, we need to understand why things are the way they are, what led us to take certain choices, how are things interacting with each other. And more than anything, we need to know how to protect those things that we love and cherish. How do we make sure that we thrive? You see, right now, this is something that I don't see a lot of people talk about, but I do watch science channels from time to time. And in the science realm, we're stagnating. We are not developing as fast as we should. We're doing great with technology because we're still relying on science that was already there 50 years ago, but we are stagnating. And we are seeing the fall of nations. We're seeing what's happening in the UK, in Canada, here in the Middle East, everywhere. Things are kind of changing fast. Some things are falling apart. Things we've taken for granted are not seen as granted anymore. How do we maintain our achievements and make sure they pass on to the next generation? The obvious answer that comes to mind is education. The greatest challenge is the fact that we have managed to build what we have because we actually sat down and thought and kind of refused to go by our natural inclination, because our natural inclination we have lived like that for hundreds and thousands of years, and humanity was not where it's at right now. Let me say it like that. So we can be living naturally and living a terrible life. Every generation comes and feels like, wait, I want to follow my instincts. I want to follow my gut feeling. And they'd be sometimes right and sometimes wrong in doing that. But if you want to have scientific progress, if you want to have humanity that is reaching the skies, I mean, we reach the moon, but we want to reach further. If we want to do that, we have to know where we're coming from, where we are going, and what got us here. And this is why I have this course, and the link is below. There is a pre-sale right now. I think I'm gonna leave the pre-sale price for some time, but I'm gonna change it at some point. And I'm a very, how do I say it, intuitive, spontaneous person. So that could come at any moment without any warning. Just saying, so sign up right now, because this is something that I think you'd really enjoy, especially if you like geopolitical channels, talking about religion, understanding culture, what makes you you and what makes me me, and what makes us and them who we are. So I'd be more than happy to see you there. I'm super excited about the opportunity to talk to you guys live. Let's make humanity great again. Now I'm gonna dive deeper into what the course is about and the course structure, but first some technicalities. The first round starts on February 2nd, 7 p.m. GMT. It's gonna be Sunday and Wednesday, 8 sessions that are live in order to tackle our biases and misconceptions and challenge our perception by encountering other cultures. We have to do it live. There is no other way to do so. Some things you have to do face to face. There are 3 components to the course. There is the workbook, the live sessions, and clips. The workbook is something that takes you on a journey, you and yourself, with the workbook. It goes through you understanding what motivates you, what's important to you, to understanding culture, and then religion, and then geopolitics. This is something that is really hands-on thinking. It's unique. There is nothing like it. I've sent this workbook to influential people to see what they think and how they would react to it, and they loved it. There is nothing like it. It really takes you and makes you think. Then we have the clips. The clips are fun. They give you extra knowledge, some more depth, some ways to think maybe differently on a situation. The clips are there to mostly open your mind to possibilities and to expand our horizons. With that, there is homework to do before our first session. There are chapters in the workbook and several clips that you have to watch before we even start the first session. In the first session, we're gonna introduce ourselves. And I wanna say, we wanna focus on our differences. You see, us as humans, we have a tendency to see and to seek what's similar. We look at the world with the perspective of our own experience. A lot of times, I actually want to emphasize the differences between us so that we would be able to understand reality a bit better and challenge ourselves to, hey, what is another way to think about something when we do our analysis? The second session is going to be geography. We're going to look at some maps, I know, exciting. And we're going to select a geopolitical niche. Each and every one of you will select their own niche, something that would interest them. And between the second and the third session, you have to decide what is your question, what is your geopolitical question, and you'll be the one who would answer it. As we progress through the sessions, you can use that knowledge to answer your own question step by step. The third session is about politics, and it is also the session where you present the question that you have decided to research. The fourth session is about trade. The fifth session is about borders. I want to stop here for a second and just point out that before we talk about borders, we have a clip on nationalism, and we are starting to delve into the realm of religion. The sixth section is going to be social structures, love, demography, how we build families, how we build communities. Why is it at this point? Well, because I want it to be after we understand what is religion. When you do the workbook, you'll see that It gives you a different perspective on understanding also societal structures. On the 7th session, we're going to talk about economy and law. And on the 8th, we're going to graduate, woohoo, and you're going to present your analysis on the question you've asked. And we're going to celebrate and go ahead and change the world into a better place. See you there. I'm really excited to see you all there.